Christian McCaffrey, of course, has been the face of the program for the last few years, if not the face of college football for a number of reasons. A spectacular player and a guy that's been just a stand-up guy across the board. We will miss him in college football. There's no question. Stanford cannot possibly replace the production and just the sheer playmaking ability. So he's a wild card, though, as he transitions to the next level. Some people love him. Some people think, it's going to be difficult for us to fit him into an offense. It's going to be interesting to see what happens on draft weekend and then the development of Mr. McCaffrey into an NFL offense for the next few years.
Yeah, I will tell you, I'll tell you, though, there was a lot of mixed chatter going into the combine, and then folks lost it on the first day. And there's, man, he can only bench 10 reps. I don't know. We're not sure he's strong enough. And then he came out the next day and caught everything they threw in his general vicinity, just like he did, throughout his college career. So I don't know why they were surprised, and put up a good time in the 40, and he run, and he cut well, and he showed his quickness in the cone and shuttle drills and all of that. And then did the same thing again at his pro day on campus, and he's been rising steadily. Personally, some folks have been, have said he's going to be, he's going to be the next Marshall Faulk, God willing. I mean, wouldn't we all love that? That dude's a Hall of Famer, so that would be terrific. I've got another Faulk in mind. I think he's more like, he reminds me of Kevin Faulk, maybe a little thinner, but a little quicker too. Extremely dangerous out of the backfield. Believe me, ask USC and ask Iowa. He reminds me of that. I've heard other things. I've heard people mention Tavon Austin. I've heard people mention Julian Edelman, a potential slot guy. I could see all of that. But I think his running back skills are not to be slept on. I think he is much more of a Kevin Faulk type guy, maybe even a Brian Westbrook, somebody like that. There have been guys like this in the NFL who have had extremely long, productive careers playing this kind of role, and I think McCaffrey's likely to be that kind of guy. Prior to all the evaluation process, he was like cusp of the first round, early in the second round. I've heard nothing but, scouts and mock drafts having him rise ever higher since the shows he's put on both at the combine and his pro day. I've heard everything from Tampa at 19 to Philadelphia at 14. A couple of people said Arizona at 13. Not sure that makes sense. All the way up to the Panthers at number 8 overall. Which feels a bit aggressive to me, but I don't think any of us can rule it out. I think he goes in the top half of the first round. I think there are enough people who kind of look at his versatility and think about what they could do with him, and I don't think he's going to be on the board past 16 or so.
Don, I guarantee that there will be people watching this video that hear the name Kevin Faulk and also Brian Westbrook that think that if that turns out to be Christian McCaffrey's career, that he's a failure because he was a superstar in college. Now, to me, transitioning to be a superstar in the NFL and to be a Hall of Famer like a Marshall Faulk, that shouldn't be put on anyone that's just starting an NFL career. Kevin Faulk was an extremely productive player for a long period of time. Brian Westbrook was more of they're the same type player, but more of a spectacular producer for a limited period of time. And injuries caught up to him. But
true. But Faulk, how many rings does he have? 3? Did he win the 3 with New England or just the first 2? He's got at least a couple, right?
Yes, he does. He at least has 2. I believe he does have 3 because they won the 3 in 4 years. And I just anticipate there being some factors.
If I were McCaffrey, I'd sign up for that right now. I mean, a contributor / starter on a championship caliber team. I do think, to me, that's high praise, and I think a lot of his potential to translate and of his ability. I've loved watching him. I don't know that it's realistic to believe that he'll be an every down back in the NFL. That's a lot of pounding on a guy whose frame is not that massive. But I think he stands a far better than average chance of being very productive for quite a while at the next level.